Welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Alana, and this is an overview of how to put a lit together from beginning to end with very quickly, with a lot of links that will take you to other materials that will help. So here we go. We're going to go fast and furious. I'm going to take you through the entire process, and then I'm going to take it through again a little slower. So the first one, so that you kind of know how it's going to go. And then, so with a little bit of this is kind of what it looks like. These are the things to consider, but just very small. And then those will have links to other material. We'll see how close I can get to 15 minutes. So the first thing you do is you sort your ideas. You're on a literature hunt, and you're going to start noticing that your ideas or the kinds of literature are going to cluster. You sort those and you build a conceptual framework. Then you arrange that into everything you have into that framework. And you do that through setting up a filing system and putting your PDFs into those file folders per concept. I'll show you how all this looks in a minute. Then you're going to, I recommend now, this is new, I used to say do it in a spreadsheet, and there are certainly things on the PD Education site that show you how to do it in a spreadsheet. But now I believe that qualitative software is the best way to go with this. So you set up categories in your qualitative software that match the file folders, and then you put all your PDFs in qualitative software. Then you code it, and you get all your coding done. When you get all your coding done, you summarize, again, using the software, what you really got out of each set of codes. So you'll be able to read them at that point. This document, 1, 2, 3, these are the things they said. And then you'll be able to build a summary. That's really handy, because then you can go through your summary table and build out a set of slides that puts your ideas together in the framework, but also in a way that a reader later, or listener, if you're going to do a presentation, can follow the ideas you've gotten from the lit. Then you go back, you've got your slides, you go back and you build a funnel for your reader, so you have a pretty clear idea of how it's all going to go, and you write your rough draft. Separate from the rough draft is putting your citations together and building a reference list. And then you revise, putting your reference into your document, you edit, you revise, and you send it to an editor. All right, 8 steps. Each one of them takes a bit of time, but my experience recently is that it goes very smoothly, and I'll show you that experience right now. Before I do, though, I want to point out that if you go to, this is not the very top part of a PD Education site, but the next thing down. And there are 15-minute videos here, and I have put up in the handouts a PDF of all the 15-minute videos that this relies upon. And I'll come back to this and talk about the synchronous writing, which may help for you who are working on this as well. All right, let's go a little slower this time. You'll see the complexities of it and how it goes together. Step 1, sort your lit into ideas, basic conceptual ideas, and build out a conceptual frame. And Reason and Rigor in Reason and Ravitch, in a book called Rigor, is it called? I've forgotten the name of it already, have talked about conceptual frames. And from that, I got the idea, and it's worked out really well, that if you build a Venn diagram of your ideas, you not only see what the main clusters of the ideas, but how they overlap, and when they overlap, what you're going for in the center. So top left of this slide is my conceptual frame. And that's how I built out 6 file folders. So the big circles are a file folder, and so are the overlapping parts. And I did that. I discussed that in that 15 minutes, and you've got the link in the slides, which are in your handouts. So then you want to arrange everything into that frame. So this is a screenshot of the folders that I made. Put the year on them because I have many more folders than that because I've been doing Research Lit for a long time. So put the year on them, and I put all the new lit I found into those folders because that's the lit I was working with. And in that particular 15 minutes, again, with the link at the bottom, I discussed not only how I did that, but also how I found new lit that was very current and a few other tricks. So once again, you have it in the slides. Now comes time to code documents using qualitative software. And I chose, or you can do the same thing in a spreadsheet. And if you are, I don't think at a master's level, I think a spreadsheet would probably be fine. And you can go to the PD Education site and you can look up spreadsheet as a search, and you're going to find how to use a spreadsheet to do your lit. But for those of you who are going for a PhD, I chose MaxQDA as my software. I liked several things about it, but everything I'm about to show you is doable in Atlas TI or NVivo or any of them. They just would the screens would look a little different, but you can get to the same place. And again, that was the link there is to the 15 minutes. I just talked about that, but this is what it looks like. On the left-hand side are my file folders with all of the, so I put in different categories, different file folders, and I made them match exactly the same 6 file folders from my conceptual design. And then I just pulled all the PDFs into those sections, and I began to code. And the numbers to the right-hand side of the particular document names will show you how many codes each document got. Sometimes very few, sometimes a lot, depending on whether or not it was interesting and it had a lot of different points to make. From my point of view, for my research. So already I'm beginning to carve this literature down into what matters for my work. On the right-hand side, you're going to see the codes I came up with. How did I come up with those codes? I read them. I read the whole thing through. I kind of knew where I was going, of course, because I knew what my research design was going to be and what I wanted to talk about. So then I'd code things as made sense. And then those codes built up as I read more. And it turned out that there were 3 basic topic areas that I needed to discuss: benefits of working remotely, challenges to working remotely, and the tools that research has looked at that are remote tools that you can use as graduate students when you're working remotely in a professional development environment, which of course is what I study. All right, now you've got all the codes in, and this is actually what seemed a bit mysterious until I went through it. So how do I get from having nice little codes into being able to write about them? And the way it works in MaxQDA, and I think it's probably the same, is I might be missing a slide here. Bear with me a second. I think there's one more picture I want to show. And let me just see if I have it or not. No, okay. So there is one more thing I want to show you. Yeah, I can do it this way. Let me just go to screen share for a second. So this, if I were to click on Analyze Summary Table, I got something like this. And originally it was just green box, little blue tabs. And when I click on the blue tab, I get the things that in the coded segments. And then I could read through the coded segments and I could build a summary of that set of codes. It's a very important step. And going back to the slides, from that summary, I can pull up what they call a summary table, and it looks like this. So again, the thought process has gone 2 steps just through following the techniques that the software set me up to do. One is read everything, understand it, code it as to what's important. Second thing is to look at all the codes from that document and to summarize it as they applied, as that document applied to one of the codes. So if I coded something 2 or 3 different ways, that document would show up as 2 or 3 different green dots. Then when I click on all the things that document said about one code, I summarized what that author was saying to me, etc. So that comes up with a chart like this. Okay, then you go through the summary table and you let that table help you build out your story. And I did it in slides. As some of you, as we've talked before about how I write, I almost always have slides going with my writing. I just think in big pictures, small pictures, big pictures, small pictures. It just helps. So I built out the story in slides. And when I revised it, when I began to write, I started to think about my reader. And that's when you need a funnel. And this is what my funnel turned out to be. First, I was going to talk about the background of the lit review. Then I was going to talk about challenges and then benefits and then tools and then what that means to professional development. So it turned out pretty tight. When I knew that was my funnel, I had to rearrange a few things to make it make sense to the reader, but I was definitely on the right track. And then, and this was totally slick, I went through my slides and I built my paragraphs. And it was just about a slide equals a paragraph. So all of this drilled down to not so many thoughts that just went everywhere and I didn't know where they went, but to concise paragraphs that have meaning, that show a particular topic area that many authors contributed to. And I highlighted a few things on this slide just to so you could see that when I do a rough draft, I am not worrying about who said what. I am just making a statement, putting in needs cite, making a statement. Pretty sure this one a lot of people said so needs multiple cite. And I just fill it up with the places I need to go back and do the citations. Then I've got to get my citations ready. So I build my reference list. I have recently moved, and once again, you're seeing where I'm going to put them. And I've recently changed. I used to use for years, for a long time, 20 years. I used EndNote, and Adrian, who comes here frequently, has been talking about Citavi for a long time because none of these pieces that I was looking at were in my EndNote. I decided to try Citavi, and I must say I liked it a lot. I just moved those PDFs into Citavi, and it did a lot of the work for me. Now, as I'm going back and writing and reading, I'm finding it didn't pick them all up. So now I have to go and I have to build, but it's not the end of the world. And I also, just to notice, looking at that last slide, they've done this really funny thing, and it's hard to move my slides around now. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Okay, if you can remember that last slide, the pieces were highlighted. So when I built a Word document separate from my writing. I I put down all the, I highlighted all the ones I wanted to use, and I built the initial reference list, and then I copy and pasted that list into a fresh Word document. Why? Because no matter what reference software you use, it messes with Word. And when you turn something into an editor or a publisher, they may not have the same software. Things can get really messy, and they can't change it for you if you have it all hooked up to your reference software. So I got rid of that. And now, then I went through and I highlighted the ones in yellow that looked funky to me. Now, we're talking about revising now. And how do you revise? Oops, slides went away. Let's see, we get them back. That's good. You revise with, oh, this really is crazy. Apologies, but technical glitch. Big Marker made a change, and I don't know easily how to. I think it's easier just to do this. Okay. I would have shown you on that last slide that up at the top, I have in my toolbox bar on Microsoft Word, I have a read aloud, and I can just punch on it. That's the best way to revise I've ever found. It reads it to me, and I hear the awkward sentences, and I hear the things I can't see. And this is a screen of, if you search on MS Word on a PD Education site, you'll get this whole list of snippets that I built about the things you can do in Microsoft Word to help you write better when you write academically. And it's the third one, setting up personal tools, that is the one that shows you how to get things up in that toolbar so you can move forward. Okay, just pretty much spot on, 15 minutes. That was very much fast and furious. And I want to tell you that all the questions in the world can be answered on the wooclap.com. We already have a couple that have come in, but I'll give you a moment, because I'm sure you have questions, to go ahead and put them up. It's www.wooclap.com and /15 minutes. And I'm just going to tell you what's coming up on PD Education so you don't miss the good stuff. All the webinars are up in that link. So go through them now and choose all the ones you want. And that way, if you get busy, it'll come to you by recording. And just to comment that both the pre-proposal and the post-data community group, in fact, we're kind of restructuring communities. And so if you signed up for Master's Community, pre or post-data, grad excellence, or academic writing, you're welcome to come to either or both of those office hours and put in your questions and get them answered. So we're going to have two groups. We're going to meet regularly, and we're just calling them pre-proposal and post-data because most of you will be talking about research, but you don't have to talk about research to come to those groups. And if you signed up for one of those groups, tomorrow you will get a notice with these links on it. So that's changing, but the rest is going forward, and we have a really good semester for you. On the left-hand side, if you go into PD Education on the left-hand side, you'll see that new Zoom link. That gives you the link to the synchronous writing group, which happens at 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean, which is noon Eastern time. And it's a place where you can come in through the Zoom link, turn off your camera, turn off your mic, and just sit there and write. So you're accountable. We all know you will be writing. We will be writing too. It gets a lot of work done. And then 5 minutes before the hour, I open my mic and ask if people want to talk about how it went or what they're learning, because I think we all can learn from each other as a community of writers. Also, if you don't have the app and you're not using it, you are seriously missing an easy way to get these ideas merged into your life without taking extra time, especially these 15 minutes. So you'll find in the handouts that there's a PDF that gives you now all the links so far to the 15 minutes from last semester. And those will soon, if not already are, I'm not exactly sure where they are in development, will be up on the app as well. The app is like having all your webinars in one place, and you can listen to them while you do the dishes or pick up your kids from school. And finally, in case any of you aren't going to a university that gives you PD education, or you have friends who are going to a university that doesn't have the service, I just finished the book, finally, of Navigating the Hidden Curriculum of Graduate School. That's the link for it up on Amazon. And if you buy the book, you get access to the PD education stuff. So that might be a way to go for people who were caught in that place where their university hasn't signed up yet, but they really would like to have these services. Okay, that's it. We have this weird slideshow navigator thing.